I believe that you are able to do exceedingly abundantly, far above all I could ask or think. Believe, yes, I believe. You say, I believe that you are able to do exceedingly abundantly, far above all I could ask or think.
I am so excited because the Step Out TV shows are back live on T2i TV. And for those who don't know, Step Out is a series of interviews and motivational segments designed to bring the best out of you and your business. Therefore, we have the following TV programs. Our first TV program, which is our flagship program, dubbed Step Out with Oscar Bimpong, is designed to interview consultants, experts, talented people, and those doing exceptionally well in their communities. The second one is Step Out SME Focus. This is where we interview business owners and showcase their products and services. The third one is Step Out Youth Impact Zone. This is where we interview young people succeeding against all odds to serve as an inspiration to other young people. And the last one is Step Out Authors Corner. And this is where we interview authors to share what their book is about to the world. Join us every week at 7 p.m. GMT. Like T2i TV on Facebook and subscribe to the YouTube channel. To advertise or for further information, do WhatsApp +44 759 1152 983 or +233 55 580 3924 or email info@traintoinspire.com. T2i TV. We engage, educate, enlighten, and empower.
Welcome to another exciting edition of the Step Out with Oscar Bimpong show. And on Saturdays, this is what we do. We bring in experts, consultants, talented people doing exceptional work in their communities, for them to come and share value, for them to share ideas in areas of their expertise, just to help our viewers to really make informed decisions in pursuit of their life journey and vision. And today is going to be another wonderful discussion that is going to amaze you, because my guest is already on fire and he is on the hot seat waiting for a powerful discussion. Now, before I go on, I just want to mention a few sponsors of this program. This program is being sponsored by Train to Inspire Consultancy, your business training and consultancy firm. It's for all your business startup, your business development, and also helping you to strategically position yourself in the marketplace. Also, this program is sponsored by P&Q Personnel. P&Q Personnel is your #1 agency for hiring healthcare assistants and nurses based in the UK. Then ALS Global Shipping and Logistics, your trusted import and export company based in Accra. Then ZPay Ghana Limited, your remittance and mobile money company based in Ghana. ZPay now, they have launched their ZPay mobile money USSD code, and that is *270#. That is what you need to register for ZPay mobile money. They are saying they are bringing freedom to the Ghanaian market. Then also Kudu Business Support, your web or graphic design, app development, or for your social media management. That is Kudu Support. If you want to speak to any of our sponsors, the numbers that are scrolling on the screen, their numbers are there. Take it and contact them. I always say this. If you tell them that you got the number from T2i TV, you are more likely to get a good deal. Now, if you really want to sponsor any of our shows, or you want to really support what we are doing, then there is a number scrolling on the screen that you can really get the number and connect to us. If you also want to sponsor any of our shows, there is something I want you to understand, that we are a consulting firm. So in terms of you advertising on this platform, we are going to give you the best of deals for you to be able to not just advertise, but also be able for us to support you to help in your business growth. Now, who do I have on the hot seat? I have known this man for quite a long time, a very dedicated man, a man who believes in possibility. He believes that there is nothing that under the sun that if you put your mind to, you cannot achieve. And he is a person that you would like to really connect to, because he is changing the status quo. Who is this man that I'm talking about? He is a John Maxwell certified speaker, trainer, and coach. And he is in the person of Kevin Tenna Korgba. Please welcome to Step Out with Oscar Bimpong, and you are live on T2i TV.
Hello, Oscar. Can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly, my brother.
Fantastic. How are you?
Yeah, all is well. Everything is fine. Everything
Thank you for the honor of being on the show.
Wow. It's been a long time, isn't it?
Yes, it has. It has. It's been a number of years. You know, we've done this. We've done this dance before.
Yes.
It's good to be back.
It's good to be back, and this is not going to be the last time anyway.
Yeah, and we seem to be having a few technical issues. So
yeah, we should be fine.
The UK internet is acting like third world internet.
Yes. Now let's go straight to business. We are going to talk about the I in leadership. And I was thinking aloud, what is the I in leadership? But in general terms, before I go on to the topic that we are discussing, who is Kevin Korgba? What drives you? Who is Kevin Korgba? What drives you?
Sorry, Oscar, I didn't hear you.
I'm saying, who is Kevin Korgba? What drives you?
Who am I and what drives me? Well, I'm just a regular guy trying to make it through life, you know. Child of God, you know, tapping into my vision, my passions. I'm driven by, you know, trying to help others. I'm driven. For me, success means so many things. It means being able to build other people around me. It means being able to achieve my highest goals and then set new ones. It means being able to leave everything that God has put in me here on earth by the time I leave. I want to leave empty. I don't want to leave with anything.
I want to leave empty.
Absolutely.
Why are you so passionate about leadership?
Well, because like my mentor John Maxwell says, everything rises and falls on leadership. And I mean, you just have to look all around the world and you can see that statement is as true today as it ever was, because leadership is the key to everything functioning, whether it's family, whether it's business, whether it's society, countries. It's leadership. It's all about leadership. So I decided that I would chase leadership. I would gain as much knowledge as I could. I would look for mentors who could teach me about leadership. I would teach myself how to be a better leader. If you look at my Instagram tag, I describe myself as a leader, a follower, but ultimately a servant, because all those three are interconnected. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow.
everything rises and falls on leadership. So that's why I'm so passionate about it.
So from what you are saying now, it means that leadership is very critical to the success of everybody in life.
Absolutely.
Why is it that leadership is not even critically taught in schools? That it's something that we need in every sphere of our life for us to succeed, whether as a nation, whether as a family, whether as an institution. Why has it been left for you to really seek leadership yourself? Why is it part of our curriculum? Why is it part of our school structure? Why have we left it? That is something that some people learn or some people know about, but others don't really have a clue what it's all about. Why is the case?
Well, I think maybe that's a mistake that those that set our various curriculums make. I mean, but if we, the countries that have got it right actually spend quite a bit of time, put in a lot of effort, do a lot of research around leadership. Just as a single example, if we look at a country like Singapore, I know Singapore is used quite a lot for examples, specifically economic examples of a country that was, you know, incredibly poor, one of the poorest countries in the world. And over a 20, 30-year period, they rose to become one of the jewels of the world. But a friend of mine actually teaches in one of the premier schools in Singapore. And he actually said to me that in Singapore, they have a specific leadership training academy where anybody who is going to go into any area of leadership has to pass through that. Yeah. So it's an intentional process that the government of the day have put in to ensure that leadership is built into the people that are going to be leaders, because it is that critical. So it's something that has to be done intentionally. I mean, for those of us from Africa, most of our curriculum are out of date. A lot of us are still working with the curriculum that the colonialists left for us. So it's about time that we ourselves, you know, decided to make up our mind and, you know, do a self-analysis and actually say, okay, look, leadership is critical. We know it's critical because we're feeling the pain of a lack of leadership on a daily basis. We feel it. Yes, it doesn't matter if you're in the diaspora or you're on the continent. Yes, because those of us in the diaspora, we have family that are on the continent. Their pain is our pain, one way or another. Yeah. So the fact still remains that it is then up to us to make a conscious decision to say we have a leadership problem. How do we fix it? Yes, we're very good at, you know, if we gave prizes for, you know, listing the problems of a group of people that can list the problems that we have, I think us Africans would be the best. Now, come up with solutions, practical solutions, solutions that can be implemented. That then becomes a bit of a problem. Yes, there are pockets here and there. There are pockets here and there that are doing things, you know, but in general, we need to be a lot more intentional about that, about making leadership a core aspect of any educational institution. Anyone from nursery schools, from early years, it has to start from there. Yeah, top down, bottom up approach, like I say.
Wow. You made mention of we are more in the talking equation than in the action equation.
Yeah.
How can we make the transition? Because we talk a lot, but we do less, especially on the African continent. How can we change the equation?
Wow. I think this is something, again, I think if we the easy answer to that is to say that our leaders, our current leaders, yes, need to take action. That's one answer that I've heard quite a lot. Another answer I've heard is that we need to wait until we get a strong enough leader within whatever country or community it is. But nobody actually specifically says that each of us individuals needs to take action in one way, shape, or form. These leaders are not aliens. They don't come from a different planet. They're us, and we are them. There's a saying that that every country gets the leadership that they deserve. You can argue that either way, but the point, I think the point that is trying to make is that if the followership, if the individuals themselves don't take action, yes, to try and ensure that they have a good enough leadership, then it is the fault of the followership. I think that's what that is saying. So we need to be a lot more intentional in the way that we approach this.
But let me ask you this.
Yes.
If the leadership is not working,
yes,
and the leadership are doing the wrong things that is impacting the people from a negative perspective, what else can the followership do?
Well, I think it was a lecture last week or a couple of weeks ago that a friend of mine and a co-facilitator, Bimbola Taiwo, was making a comment. I think it was on one of your your shows when you said, look, if the leadership does not work, then the followership has to work.
Yes.
Yeah, and I absolutely loved that because he gets the concept. Yes, if the leadership does not work, then the followership has to work. And in order for the followership to work, the followers have to have the capability to lead. Yes. So if you think about this, I'll give the analogy of a shark. A shark has rows of teeth that are in front. Yeah, it has hundreds of teeth. But most sharks have double rows, so that when the front ones break, yes, the ones behind will come forward and take their place. That is exactly what Abimbola was trying to say. If the leadership doesn't work, the followership has to work. There has to be a large enough pool of capable leaders within the followership, such that if the existing leadership is not working, we'll kick them out, and somebody who can actually do the job can come in. Now, we're a long way from that, a very long way from that. But that is one of the solutions.
Is that the meaning of the I in leadership?
Well, that's I've started to explain that in a way. Yes.
So what is I in leadership?
The I in leadership is, that in itself is contradictory because obviously in the spelling of leadership, there's no I.
Yes.
Yes. So that in itself is contradictory, but it requires us to think a lot deeper than just spelling. Yes. The I refers to you and me. It refers to us. It refers to the individual. It refers to the self. Yeah. Because we are the ones. Each person has to be able to lead themselves. Yes. Another thing John Maxwell says is the most difficult person to lead is yourself. And we all know that everybody has set New Year resolutions. What happens by February? That's for the ones that reach February. Yes, but that's all part of leadership. It's all part of self-discipline. It's all part of taking response. So that I actually means I spells self. Yes, I spells accountability. I spells taking charge. Yes, stepping up and doing what you need to do. If each and every one of us, yes, spent time actually looking around this society and asking the question, okay, what can I do? What can I do as an individual to make sure that my little sphere of influence works better? Can you imagine the change that would happen if this many people were able to think that way and actually act as well? So that's what the I in leadership is saying. It's saying that it's not this leadership thing is not something that is outside of us. It is us. Yes, the I in leadership is us. I always say this: we are the leaders that we are waiting for. Who else is going to do it if we don't do it?
Wow.
And this is from on different levels. Yes, if we look at families within a family, yes, each and every person in that family has a role to play. And for as long as you have a role to play, you're a leader, because you have to lead yourself or you have to lead those around you in one way, shape, or form. And that's on a family level. If you look at an organizational level, it doesn't matter whether you're the cleaner, the cook, or the CEO, you have a leadership role. For as long as you have a job, you have a leadership role. Even if you're the only one there, you have the responsibility of leading yourself to make sure that that job is done to the best possible standard. And that's on an organizational level. If you look at it on a societal level, yes, countrywide, we go out and we vote. We say, oh, our leaders are corrupt, all of this. But again, I'm saying that it comes back to that pool. I wrote an article for a magazine that I write for, and I'm the editor at large, Mode Men magazine. And it was titled Leadership by Us. Okay. And I gave an example, an illustration, if you will, of a bucket of apples. That each time you dip your hand into the bucket of apples and take out an apple, 9 out of 10 times, the apple is rotten. So if you think critically about that, what's the problem? The problem is not the individual apples that are rotten. The problem is that a majority of the apples in that bucket are rotten. That's the problem we have with leadership. If our leaders keep being corrupt, or if we keep selecting the wrong leaders, then there's something wrong with the pool from which the leaders are being selected.
Wow.
That is what the I in leadership is saying.
A lot of things is going on. What I'm trying to say is that if you fail
Yes.
in leadership of self, does it mean that it can translate to failing in leading others?
If you fail, sorry, I didn't hear that quite clearly. If you fail in leadership
Of self
of
leadership.
self, yes,
Yes. Does it mean that it can translate to failing, for you failing in relation to leading others?
I 100% believe so. Because look, the point still remains that if you cannot give a good account of something small that you are given, then why would you be able to deal with something bigger than that? Yes. So if you cannot lead yourself, and this is the reason why in interviews, even in job interviews, when they're asking certain questions, they're asking certain questions to understand the sort of person that you are as an individual. What are your characteristic traits? Are you honest? Are you hardworking? Are you able to work on your own? You find that question comes up a lot. Are you able to work on your own? Basically, what that question is asking you is, can you lead yourself? Because if you cannot lead yourself, how do you lead a team? Yes. So if you fail in self-leadership, it is very likely that you fail in leadership if you're given a leadership role.
This is getting interesting. What I'm trying to say is that if the pool is rotten, like in Africa, we are always producing leaders that are not able to really achieve our goals. If they are not able to achieve our goals, it means that the pool of followership is rotten in code. So if the pool of followership are rotten in code, and how can things really work well for us to produce the good leaders that we need?
Okay. I didn't hear you clearly, but I think I understand what you're trying to ask me. If the pool of apples are rotten, yes, how can we then produce a group of leaders that can actually do the job that they're supposed to? That's sort of what you're asking. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. We need to change the process. The entire process that is making those apples rotten. And this is where self-leadership comes in. Yes? We need to be able to allow our young people to develop as leaders. Okay, and this is this is why I gave the example of a place like Singapore. It has to be an intentional process that is put in place, and like I said earlier on, it has to start from a very, very young age. There has to be leadership training for early years, for primary school, for secondary school, and I mean built into the curriculum, intentionally built into the curriculum, and not theoretical leadership, but proper proper leadership training. I went to a military school in Nigeria between the age of 11 and 17, and it was all about. I mean, you would come out a leader or you would come out a criminal. It was one or the other, because you were trained properly. On you had to. Everybody took responsibility for their actions. Now, all of that sort of intentionality, yes, developed me into the sort of person that I am, into the sort of leader that I am. Now, that has to be done at every level, because you can't give what you don't have. If you just grab somebody because maybe he's popular, or maybe because he's got money and so therefore he rises to a leadership position, or if you look at it from an organizational perspective, if he's the boss's favorite, or for whatever reason they get into a leadership position, if they are not leaders, if they do not have those leadership qualities, they cannot give that to the followership. You can't give what you don't have. It's just not possible. Yeah. If you think about this, if you think about the COVID-19 crisis now, it has shown up a lot of leaders, because the truth of the matter is, if you squeeze a leader, yes, the only thing that will come out is what is inside. So crisis does not make a leader. It exposes a leader.
Wow.
It shows what you're made of.
Wow. Crisis exposes a leader.
It exposes a leader.
Yeah, but I think it has exposed a lot of leaders anyway.
Well,
yeah. So now that makes it quite interesting. You made mention of leadership being taught in schools, and then from the grassroots and being built upon. This is where we are not nowhere close to that, because even our leaders that are sitting in parliament don't even have no leadership training. Some of them, too many of them. And if those people don't even have leadership, some of them don't have leadership training, then how can they even make the decision for leadership to be taught in schools? So there is something that is missing. It's not aligned.
Yes.
And who is responsible?
Yes.
Who is responsible? Because we don't have time.
We are all responsible, Oscar. We are all and this is my point, is that we can't keep passing the buck to say that the easy answer is to say, even though it's a truthful answer. Yes, don't get me wrong. Yeah, it's a truthful answer. In a majority of cases, our leadership have failed us. Yes, we're talking about our African countries here now specifically. Yes, let's just talk around that. It is a true fact that our leadership have failed us, and it is their responsibility, because we have given them the mandate to lead us, yes, to make decisions on our behalf. Okay, but the problem is that we've almost taken our eye off the ball. We've allowed them to get away with a whole lot of things, and part of it is because we ourselves are not taking responsibility for our own actions. This is what I mean by the I in leadership. This is what I mean by self-leadership. If each and every one of us takes responsibility for our own actions and our own spheres of influence, yes, imagine if already before you get into office, yes, you're already working around your community. You're making sure that the young kids are not running around. Everybody is going to school. Yes, you're making sure that people don't litter within your environment. And these are very, very minute things. Believe me, they seem like they're insignificant, but that's where it starts. It is as small as that. Because look, when let me use an example. When you're driving on the street, yes, and somebody decides that, look, the traffic is just too much here. I'm going to drive in the opposite direction, even though it's a one-way street. That's not government. It's not our leader's fault. It's you, the individual, who is doing that. Yes. So that is you taking responsibility for your own action. And that's just a simple example. There are thousands. We can go on and on about it. You go into an office to go and try and get some sort of contract or see somebody. The secretary decides that if you don't settle her, your file is going to go missing. That's not the government. That's not the leadership. It's the secretary. Do you understand? So it is at these levels, at these individual levels, that we have to work. Otherwise, this story that we're telling, these complaints that we keep having over and over and over again. When we met 2-3 years ago, we were talking about this same thing. Yes, our children are going to grow up and they'll probably be talking about the same thing if we do not do something about it. Yeah,
but
we keep
go on.
We keep wanting change, but who is going to make the change? Who do we want to make the change? It's dangerous. Yes, it's dangerous. It's risky. The powers that be are not going to. They're not going to let go of power lightly. But if we're going to, if we truly want this change, it has to start with us. We have to prepare ourselves and make ourselves ready leaders, so that when the time comes for the other leaders to pick a leader, yes, we are ready. Otherwise, the people that keep rising to the positions of leadership will continue to be the rotten.
Wow. What I'm saying is that somebody needs to take responsibility. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes, but your question is who needs to take responsibility, and my answer is you and me. You and I need to take responsibility. Each and every one of us needs to take responsibility.
Yeah, but that's why I'm saying that if that is the case, and nobody wakes up one day and say, from today, I'm going to be a good leader. Nobody wakes up one day and say, look, I'm going to stop being corrupt. Nobody stops one day and say, I'm going to stop driving my heart on the road. Now, if somebody does not take responsibility to stop them, the status quo continues.
There's what, sorry?
The status quo continues, like the norm.
Yes. And part of the answer to that, Oscar, is this education that I'm talking about. If you see there's a Roman Catholic order called the Jesuit priests, yes, and there's a Jesuit saying that if show me a child at the age of give me a child for the first 7 years of their life, and I'll show you the man that child is going to become. Yes, so that is a very profound statement, because you have to build these things into people. You have to it's almost like you have to build a fear of being corrupt, because there's a consequence for being corrupt. If there wasn't a consequence, or if there isn't a consequence, yes, then it's okay to do it. It has to be built in. You have to teach it at every level. And this is the point that I keep making. There's something on my fridge about Singapore. It says Singapore is a fine country. Yes, you get fined if you're caught chewing gum. You get fined if you drop litter. So that's what it's saying. It is a fine country. We will fine you for doing these things. And everybody is taught that from a very young age and at every level, and they adhere to it. Yes. It's going to be a lot. This is not an easy. What we're talking about here is not an process. It is not an easy process by any stretch of the imagination, but it has to be done intentionally and consistently. And like I said, there are pockets and groups out there that are working tirelessly to try and achieve some of these things that we're discussing. These, creating better leaders and creating a larger pool of good leaders to choose from. Yes. they are working towards making each individual a better leader. They're working towards making the followers worthy leaders as well.
Do you think there
Does that
is?
make sense?
Yes, exactly. Do you think there is hope for us in terms of leadership, especially the
Do I
young?
think what?
Do you think there is hope for us in terms
Oh,
of
absolutely.
leadership, especially when you look at the young people on the continent of Africa?
Absolutely, absolutely, Oscar. Look, I always believe that there's hope. It doesn't matter how terrible the situation may look. Yes, and I always refrain a little from jumping down the throat of young people and all of that because look, a child is only as good as what their parents allows them to be. Okay. Yes, environment has an impact as well. But if we think of the generation that is now, that a lot of people say are lazy, are entitled, are all of that. Yes, they were not born that way. A parent didn't say no, didn't teach them how to, they didn't hear no enough. They didn't hear stop. They didn't hear you have to look. I'm in my 40s. Yes, there are certain things that I will not do because the minute I even start thinking about it, I hear my mother's voice in my head. Yes, absolutely, and that's my point. So that's why I'm saying that I refrain from jumping down the throat of young people. They're just making do with what they have. Yes, but they need to be taught. They need, if you don't teach somebody something, how do you expect them to know how to do it? Yes, it's a different story if you're teaching somebody and they are refusing to learn. Yes, then there's another side to the story. There's punitive action. There's, if you don't do this, this is what is going to happen. Okay, there's a consequence. So that's my point. There's hope. There's a lot of hope because there's so many intelligent young people out there. There's so many young leaders out there that are doing amazing things. One of the problems is that they're not getting enough of the limelight. We hear a lot of the negativity and not a lot of the positive things that are happening. For every hush puppy out there, yes, there's a young man somewhere that is doing something equally amazing and even more. But we hear a lot more about the negativity than the positivity. And we need to change that. That's the African story as well. We need to understand that our stories and what we put out there is how people view us. Yeah. So from a leadership perspective, we need to put out, and that's why I love your show, the Youth Impact Show. Yes, you're putting out there what young people are doing, what young leaders are doing. Yes, they're going out of their way to make sure that they make an impact in their communities, in their societies. And that's a very big part of this process if we want to achieve what we say we want to achieve.
Wow. Do you think the next generation are ready to take the mantle?
Well, I don't think any generation is ever ready to take the mantle. The point is, you there's a saying within. So as part of in the John Maxwell team, we always say, "Do it afraid. Just jump and grow your wings as you're falling." Yes, it means that you may not be prepared, but take the plunge. You can learn as you go along. You can learn as you go along. I think the critical aspect is wanting to learn, is the desire to learn. It's easier to teach somebody who has desire already than to have to convince somebody who is not interested at all. Yeah.
Yes.
So they may never be ready, but they have to step up to the plate. They have to. They don't have very much of a choice. Just like we don't have very much of a choice.
It sounds interesting, and I'm enjoying it. When I'm enjoying the show, I just keep quiet a lot of time and I don't talk much. But I'm really enjoying the discussion, and I believe that, as you said, there is hope for Africa, and there is a lot that we can do. Most of our leaders are above 60, 70, 80 years. And this is so, it's like some countries, They change the baton in 100 meters race. That's 400. They change it every 100 meters. We change it like almost 5,000 meters. That is, people have to run for a long time before they give the baton. Do you think this is helping us?
No, but I also think that I think part of the problem is always the intention, and there's a lot to be said about intention. See, a lot of our leaders, they say absolute power corrupts absolutely. Yeah, it's a very popular saying. A lot of these people, they get into those positions, they taste the life, they taste the power, and it becomes all about them. Yes. Now, ironically, I'm talking about the I in leadership. So, ironically, one of the things about becoming a leader is that when you become a leader, yes, it's no longer about you. It's about, so I vanishes and it becomes about them or us. Okay, so it's now about the collective and not about the individual. When you become a leader, yes, our African leaders are the direct opposite. As a matter of fact, before they become leaders, it's about us. It's about the population because they need the population to get into that position. They need the votes. Yes, that's even when they don't, even though a lot of them are going to rig anyway. But then when they get into that position, it becomes about them, about the individual. They want to amass as much wealth as possible. So somebody gets into a position, with one house. By the time he's leaving, that's if he leaves. By the time he's leaving 5, 6, 10 years later, he has 50 houses scattered across, various countries. Okay, so I think it has not served us as Africans well. People that have been ruling for the last 30, 40 years, they've lost touch of reality. And this is why people always use Mandela as an example. He could have gone on and decided that, okay, he's going to be president till he dies. I think very few people would have argued with that. But he made a commitment to say he's going to be president for one term and then hand over to somebody else, somebody younger, somebody more energetic to take on the mantle and move on. And that's what we should be thinking about. Yes? Not leaders that are looking at changing constitutions to make themselves leaders for life. That's a very serious issue. Because what happens is the young people become restless. Okay, when are they going to have a turn to be able to flex their own leadership muscles, if you will? When are they going to get the sort of mentorship? When are you, the current leader, going to step down and become the godfather, in quote, or become the mentor who these younger ones can come to for advice because you've been there and you've done that? So we've got our whole process upside down.
Yeah, I always say that, and in Africa, analog minds are leading digital minds.
Absolutely, and they can't understand it. COVID-19 has brought a lot of people out of the analog world into the digital. You have to. Almost everybody now has to at least know how to use Zoom.
Yes.
At least, no. Otherwise, you won't have meetings.
Yes.
Unless, of course, you get a young person to set everything up for you every time you want to do that. Yes. So analog minds are leading digital minds. We're in the digital world now.
Yes, and that is a disconnect, isn't it?
Yes. Absolutely.
So it means that we are moving in parallel lines. And how can, if the leaders cannot connect to the younger generation to build capacity to really help us to get to where we want to be, then there is a big challenge.
Sorry, Oscar, you broke again. I didn't hear you.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is that if the leaders, there is a disconnect between the leaders and the people, younger generation, then how can we be able to work to really achieve the goals that we have set for ourselves as a continent?
Well, again, I think, like I said, it's not going to be an easy task, and it's easy to sit here and just spout off, oh, we need to do this, we need to do that, our leaders or people at home or this, it's easy to do that, but the reality of the situation is that the journey to achieving a lot of these things will more than likely be paved in pain, in blood, in tears, and in death. Because when you decide to stand up against a lot of the powers that be, we know for a fact that people disappear, people get imprisoned. We have Secret Service that are listening to everything you're saying and watching everything you're saying. One day they come and pick you up. But I'm talking about using every possible tool in our arsenal. Yes, and there's a time when you look at a particular situation and say, look, you know what? I can't fight this from the top. I need to go and try and fight it from the bottom. And that is one of the things I'm advocating with educating from the bottom, because it may be too late for older generations. They say it's difficult to teach an old dog new tricks. So it may be difficult to change things from that perspective. But you can start to educate the ones that are potentially going to take over. Because if we, the people who have a vision of what leadership should be like, are not going to teach them, then you can be guaranteed, yes, that the corrupt leaders are going to teach them their own process. Fact. Yes, it's just a fact.
Yes. And that's quite interesting. And to be honest, I've enjoyed the show. Can you imagine 1 hour is already here? And it's been a very, very good discussion. And before I go, let me just give a shout out to our sponsors. Trying to inspire.
Oh, Oscar, you're breaking again. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just giving a shout out to our sponsors. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So before I go, I'm giving a shout out to all our sponsors. Trying to Inspire Consultancy, your business training and consulting firm, is for all your business startup, business development, and helping you to strategically position yourself in the marketplace. P&Q Personnel, your number one agency for hiring healthcare assistants and nurses based in the UK. ALS Global Shipping and Logistics, your trusted import and export company based in Accra. ZPay Ghana Limited, your remittance and mobile money company based in Ghana. Kudu Business Support, your web and graphic design, app development, and for all your social media management. Then Wheel for sure. That is your car leasing company for every credit score. Meaning that if you have got any credit score, you can go and get a car of your choice with Wheel for sure. When you go to Wheel for sure, just give them this code T2i 2020 and they are going to sort you out. Wheel for sure is your car leasing company for every credit score. And it's so amazing how they are changing lives. They are saying that the system should not punish people, but they are stepping in that it doesn't matter the credit score that you have, you can still walk out of the garage with a car that you like. So it's been amazing. If you want to contact any of our sponsors, their telephone numbers are scrolling on the screen. If you want to sponsor any of our shows, the numbers are scrolling on the screen. And also, if you want to support what we are doing, there is a number for you to contact us. That because we believe that this platform that we want to use to educate people with a strategic focus on the African continent, we cannot do it alone. We will need the support of each and everyone to help us to get to the level where we want to be. Today, I've been having an amazing discussion with Mr. Kevin Korgba. He is the John Maxwell certified speaker, trainer, and coach, and he's been talking to us on the I in leadership, and it's been an amazing discussion. Mr. Kevin, what is your last word to anybody that is watching us?
Well, I just think each and every one of us needs to realize that we're leaders, whether we like it or not. We're leaders in our own right, and we have to be able to start learning how to build ourselves. We need to grow as individuals in order for us to be able to achieve everything that we want to achieve, whether on a personal level, whether career-wise or business-wise. In anything you need to achieve in this life, you have to grow. And this, if COVID-19, if this lockdown has taught us anything, for those that have been smart, they've realized and they've taken advantage of all the free information that has been out there. Yes, but getting information is one thing. Yes, turning that information into actionable knowledge, now that's a whole different thing. You may need to pay for that. Okay, but I just encourage everybody, develop the leader in you, because that is the one way, the one sure way that you'll be able to succeed yourself, but you'll be able to also impact your community, your society, and the world at large. That's my final word.
Wow, develop the leader in you, meaning that all of us have got a leadership acumen in us that we can use to really impact our world. It's been wonderful really having this discussion with you. And I would like
Thanks a lot.
I would like to say thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thanks a lot, Oscar. It's been a privilege.
Yes. And I really enjoyed every bit. And I hope everybody that's watching us, we want you to share this to other platforms, to other WhatsApp. I always say that entertainment, sports, and politics is what sells in Africa. Personal development discussions like this, it doesn't sell. The slave queens and the slave kings, celebrities insulting each other sells better than education. We want to change that. We want to bring the paradigm shift. We want to really create that awareness that young people, if there is a choice between watching this show or going to really watch a celebrity who is insulting another celebrity, they would rather choose to come here. Because the psyche and the mindset of the young people of Africa needs to change. And if it can change, it is some of these platforms that we are creating that we believe that they can change the mindset of the people. So we cannot do it alone. We need your support. We need you to share some of these things to other platforms. Sometimes we love to share comedy. It is good. We love to share entertainment, movies, things, but we never share things like this. Why? Because our mindset is not trained for things like this. And for us to do this, we need to start from somewhere. So we need to spread the word by our own selves. We need to build a platform, not only for Ghana, Nigeria, or wherever it is, but the whole world. And that is what T2i TV has come to stay, to bring a difference to the marketplace. As I said, if you want to sponsor any of our shows, the numbers are scrolling on the screen. If you want to support what we are doing, you are free to do so. You say, Oscar, you are doing an amazing job. I want to support you. Support is not always money. If money, good. If it's no money, what can you bring on board to support us? These are some of the things that we are asking, because people support other things that probably are not beneficial to even young people on the continent. Can we support things like this? I've seen some slave queens that are insulting each other in Ghana now, and they are trending. They are trending. Insult is trending. Education does not trend. How can we grow as a continent when our young people, they will buy data to go and watch such things, but their mindset is skewed to the extent that if you tell them to come on a platform like this, they will tell you they don't have data, but they have got data for nonsense, things that does not add value to their life. We need to start causing a paradigm shift, change on the continent. Absolutely. And these radical discussions like this, radical point blank speaking like this, for us to change the minds of our people. Until we change, nothing will change. Until we set the precedent, nobody will set it for us. We have to start sharing our own stories. And it starts for me and you. That is, we are the I in leadership. Mr. Kevin, it's been wonderful having you Hope to see you more times on this platform. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Oscar. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And everybody that took their time to watch it, we say, God, Richard, bless you. We will see you next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, I've got a young man who is doing exceptionally well with the UN, a first-class student doing amazing things from Sierra Leone. He's going to come on the show. For those that don't know, on Tuesdays, it's for young people. The Step Out Youth Impact Zone is for young people between the ages of 12 to 13 years that are doing exceptionally well on the continent or in diaspora. It's going to be an amazing discussion. I always tell every parent that watches this program, let your children watch the Youth Impact Zone, because the Youth Impact Zone, it will inspire them, because what some young people are doing will encourage your children for them to also believe that if these young people can do it, they can also do it. Don't watch it alone. Watch it with your children. Let them put down the tablet and watch educative programs like this. It is about time that we push our children to exceed expectation. The time is now.
Absolutely.
And we can only do it if we start taking these baby steps. God richly bless you. See you guys on Tuesday. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I believe that you are able to do exceedingly abundantly, far above all I could ask or think. Believe, yes, I believe. You say, I believe that you are able to do exceedingly abundantly, far above all I could ask or think.
I'm so excited because the Step Out TV shows are back live on T2i TV. And for those who don't know, Step Out is a series of interviews and motivational segments designed to bring the best out of you and your business. Therefore, we have the following TV programs. Our first TV program, which is our flagship program, dubbed Step Out with Oscar Bimpong, is designed to interview consultants, experts, talented people, and those doing exceptionally well in their communities. The second one is Step Out SME Focus. This is where we interview business owners and showcase their products and services. The third one is Step Out Youth Impact Zone. This is where we interview young people succeeding against all odds to serve as an inspiration to other young people. And the last one is Step Out Authors Corner. And this is where we interview authors to share what their book is about to the world. Join us every week at 7 p.m. GMT. Like T2i TV on Facebook and subscribe to the YouTube channel. To advertise or for further information, do WhatsApp +44 759 1152 983 or +233 55 580 3924 or email info@traintoinspire.com. T2i TV. We engage, educate, enlighten, and empower.